Did something to say, thank you. Absolutely. Yeah, fair enough.
It is the alloy. So when you buy that many, you don't want. Yeah.
My complaint is you're not buying enough, so.
Yeah, there you go. See, that's actually. That's why it's president.
You're supposed to buy them.
Did you go in the water today?
Isn't that the same? I guess.
Yeah.
Is that what you do on days you don't go in the water?
You were talking, sitting on, and I started to send this. No. I jumped the hill.
Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah, Jennifer reached out to me. Big deep voice. I don't have to wait 6 months. And then by the time you get it, it's a good. It was, but they reinforced. I've seen it. I've seen it. You know, under you. Yeah.
Now we got, you know, talked about.
Because even if. A lot of people will only release like. What that does is it sure goes. And that causes that. So that's why I go all the way. Yeah. I pretty much see easy.
All right.
Are you back? Are you back? Haven't gone yet? Okay. Oh, yeah.
I think you can know my side.
Ever seen him? I'm gonna be fast. You're gonna be more.
I don't want to sit there. Oh, yeah. Everything's going right. My buddy. But really wanted where you know you're not yeah, no. You have yeah. Yeah.
You know, the holidays. It's good to be back.
Okay.
No. I know. We have it. Yeah. Oh. I
I did it literally, throwing water.
So you don't see.
I mean, I started with wedges just to see, and then I. And then the drive. I was able to hit the back. Yeah. Okay. That rock was really. Yeah. It's kind of like changing a lot of this thing. Yeah.
So right after the yellow lost, they moved to the light blue before we found.
And then.
We'll do. All right. Paul, you want to lead us in the pledge of allegiance, sir? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic which stands, one nation, indivisible, with justice for all.
All right, this is my favorite part. You guys know it. First, it's the truth. Second. Third. Fourth.
That's all.
And five.
All right. I would have a whole.
No, just. Right on time. Bacon. Good for the.
All right. We have one reoccurring visitor. Olga is our reoccurring visitor until she chooses to join.
I hope you want to.
I thought she'd done the paperwork. I'm gonna talk to her.
It's a long process, so you better start now, and get it done by June, so. All right, so the number one song, December 5th of 1993, anybody want to guess?
What's that?
No, this is a lame song, I think. Number one song,
Wow.
December 5th, 93.
Oh.
It's flipping Janet Jackson again. Remember that song? I mean, anyway, okay, so let's move on.
The name of the song?
Yeah, again,
Remember why is that bad song?
because it's a decent year for music.
What was the name of the song?
I didn't pick it. Somebody else did. The top 100. Okay, so what about the number one movie? Anybody want to guess? Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, very good. Jurassic Park.
Still alive.
All right, so our speakers, Benjamin James, mental health crisis in nursing. That's probably a good one when you think about it. You think about what like the EMTs and everybody, firemen, policemen see. Imagine also being a nurse, right? I mean,
I can't imagine. Imagine cupping 200 milliliters of blood. Yeah. And swooping it.
To the neighborhood.
imagine that. I do it personally. That's just me. Some others might would. Birthdays. So
Specific amount.
right.
As he eats.
Yes.
All right. So Lori's birthday is on 12/8, and she's not here for us to ask her age. However, her anniversaries, Mike and Lori's anniversary is December 2nd, 47 years. Nice. And spouses' birthdays, Kirsten Higgin is on December 6th. And there are no Rotary anniversaries. So there are no Rotary anniversaries, so I think now would be a great time for Olga to join. That way next year. I'm just saying. Okay. Counting on you. Okay, so when Isabel was here, they sent her this deal that I had to fill out for all the stuff, right? And she had on there that if we had jelly beans, they can only be yellow ones. I told her we're not having jelly beans. So, but there's a whole list of stuff that we couldn't do. We couldn't find or we couldn't do these things, right? Which unfortunately, but she asked for anybody that we want to point out. So I did put one person. This is what she wrote up. She either ran out of time or she totally forgot it in her pile of stuff. So she drove down and gave it to me. So this is what she wrote for. She said, joined Rotary March 1st of 1994, joined the club in January 9th of 2009, 31 years, 8 months of service. He's been a president, PHF 3 years, sponsored 5 members. This member is a trusted ally of the club and the board. He steps up when asked and is cherished for not only, she wrote some of this, you guys. My personality wouldn't be used for cherish. I think you all know that. But he steps up when asked and is cherished for not only his wisdom, again, maybe not the word I would have used, but she did, that he shares, but also from over his 12 years of work as club secretary, Gary O'Reilly. Come on up, Gary.
Terry, she,
See, she consulted me, and she wrote this. So honestly, Gary, thank you so much for everything you do. It's funny because when I asked Ron something, he said, I don't know, ask Gary. And I think everybody's been president. Can say, right, can say, ask Gary. So thank you very much.
thank you. I have my own camera.
You want to take a selfie? All right, so reports.
We gotta get up there and take a picture. Somebody should take a picture.
Yeah, I know.
Family hug.
Okay. Give it to the expert thing. Thanks for.
You're using an iPhone when he's got that thing? Come on.
It's good.
That's because she really takes super pictures.
Hey, Rick, just you wait, Gary. 1, 2, 3, smile. Cherish.
Cherish. Thanks, Gary.
Thank you.
All right. Reports. So Lori's not here. President-elect, next.
Sure, I went to pre-Pels in Surrey a couple of weeks ago, which was fantastic. Got to sit with President-elects of Burlington and Secret Woolly Club. I would say I've been to a lot of leadership training in my life, and Rotary does a top-notch job. I am very impressed by people who presented, the topics that they covered to try to help clubs be successful. And I'm now all in, so I'm registered for Real Pals, that's in February in CTAC, and I'm also registered for the District 50/50 conference up in Harrison Hot Springs. So off we go.
There's so much info you're gonna get at Pels. It's crazy.
Yeah, that's it.
They pack in.
Like,
All right, Gary, Secretary's report.
Board meeting on Wednesday night. I think this goes without saying, and I've said it a couple times, but I think that Christine ought to be really congratulated and her team for what she did for the food bank and then festival of trees. Oh, they raised a little over $100,000. Awesome. If you went there, it was fun. You finally won the tree.
Oh, man, it took a fight though.
He had one lady that wanted to fight him on every tree that he tried to bid on.
Well, then those guys at Cornerstone Construction, I guess either the president or CEO said they had to buy at Main Street. That was when I wanted it first. And I'm just like, I got crushed. It's like, multi-floor commercial construction money coming at me.
Governor Isabel has reminded all district members that December 15th, early registration for the district conference in 2026 up in Harrison Hot Springs. So if you want to go, you better do it before the 15th to get a reduced there. Also, Fireside on for Tuesday night at Lake Stevens Brewery.
All right.
Come join Ron and I. Yes.
All right, Eileen, Club Services.
Sent out a couple of cards and, we're working on corks and cakes for next year already. And, that's all I have. And you know, anybody who needs a card, pick me up, please let me know. Thanks.
Let's see, Bob Foundation.
I'm gonna let Chris talk, but we may have an opportunity to see the foundation at work.
Yeah.
Just big and
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
No, with that King Water project, stuff, we're taking a deep dive on it, and we'll probably talk about a little bit about that, but very important water in these kind of places, safety build, safety construction, safety in perpetuity, kind of a short story, but so we're really digging into that. We've got a couple players coming next week, to talk about it, in a separate meeting, so we'll bring that to you guys here shortly.
So that'll be fun to see participation with, the Rotary Foundation, the district, and then a bunch of other clubs participate in that project, so that could be fun. And then we did, we signed up our auctioneer for corks and cakes here when I get home today, so we'll have to say that it was their last one. We'd like to see him again.
Okay. All right, so Kendra, do you have anything for programs?
Nothing to update. I'm talking with Chief Bezzizo to get him on the schedule. And I'm still trying to nail down a few organizations, like Housing Hope and Beck's Place, to get them on the schedule for December. But other than that, nothing to report.
Cool, thank you. Public relations, Rochelle?
Really, okay, so just again, when we just put Dawn's spotlight up. I shared Lance wrote a really nice, heartfelt post about Rotary Love. On his personal Facebook page, and so I grabbed it. It was so good, and so I shared it onto our Rotary page, and, I updated our calendar this evening to the top. There was another, blood drive, I did a blood drive post on there, so please, when you see those kind of things, even if you're like, oh, blood drive, please like it, share it, comment, because then it bumps it up and moves it. You know, it does wonders for the algorithm to just, continue to get us out there in the community. So we do have our holiday party tomorrow. Setup is at 2. If there's anyone that can come and help set up, that'd be amazing. Party starts at 5, and with the schedule, we'll probably be out of there by 7. So it'll just be wham bam, tons of fun, and then go do something else fun if you want, or not stay. But we're thankful to the food bank for letting us use their space, of course. So that's tomorrow, and then we've got our blood drive next Friday. I've got both volunteer positions are filled, thanks to Cliff and Paul, which is awesome. They're gonna be checking everybody in for us, and you can dole out snacks or peruse the snacks. I restocked and then moved the snacks around and then remarketed the snacks and all things. Well, I did it because there's really not a lot to do, but it's really nice to meet all the people that come from all over the place to donate blood. So that's next Friday, and then.
Bring my iPad so I can show them, eats.
Perfect. Well, you want
Yeah, I just think, memes make people happy, makes their heart flutter, pumps more blood a little faster.
Oh.
Or get super offended. Also, helps it with the process. Either way, I think it's.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's whole. Power red. Oh, you're welcome. Red donor. Yes, I am.
There's a, the blood drive.
Yeah.
Yes, so on the Facebook post is a link to the Red Cross sign up sheet, and there were, as of I think yesterday, 10 spots left.
Oh.
It's really I had no idea until I volunteered how, what a big deal this is, which sounds lame, but I had no idea. And people were driving from Olympia, and because they have a goal that they're trying to hit for their 1 million gallons or whatever it is, I don't know. And so they're coming from all over the place, and they check themselves in, and they're happy and they're thankful that we're putting it on. And it's just like a win. you know, love giving blood. Thank you, Rotary and snacks, which is my favorite part. So it's super cool. So if you haven't signed up, the link is on our Facebook page in the Give Blood. We also did Giving Tuesday on Tuesday. I don't have access to the backside, so I don't know if we received any donations, but we did participate in Giving Tuesday on Tuesday also. And then we have Winterfest coming up, which is the 13th, next Saturday. And so we'll start setting up for that at 3 o'clock, and that'll run from 4 to 7, and then 7 to 7:01 will break down and pack it all away. And if anyone knows where the Rotary tent is, it'd be really great to have that for our booth at Winterfest. And we're having an issue locating. Last I used it was at Sherwood for your community day event, and it kind of does in like giant letters. Yes.
Didn't we have it in Aquafest?
We had it in Aquafest in August, and then the community event was after that, and now we can't find it. It's not sure. It's storage unit. But it's in like a big, you can't miss, it's in a big black. Nice cave. I have no idea about your takes on stuff, but that's a great idea.
Heck no, I'm not storing that crap. We have a storage unit.
So if anybody knows where it is, we'd be thankful to get it back.
Okay.
Yeah, we don't. So that would be great. And so if you want to sign up for that, I'd love to have volunteers. I have not sent out the sign up sheet because it doesn't take a lot of people to do it. So really, if you just want to say, hey, I'll volunteer, then the shifts will be from 3 o'clock to 5:30 and then 5:30 to 7:30. So if you want to help out, great, amazing. Yeah. A party or holiday party, that's for tomorrow. Yeah, I talked about that one. And then if there's anyone that wants to put together something for January or February, that would be amazing.
MLK Day in January, you may
Oh.
have our review something, this was their responsibility.
Yeah, you want to put that together?
I love to partner with somebody.
Oh, good. Seems like a good welcoming.
Not a member yet.
Okay.
You gotta keep her on the leash.
Yeah.
She'll get involved in everything.
Kind of the point, right? So the, let me, just a question, because Michelle didn't ask it, so I'm just curious. If we didn't do the holiday deal, what's the temperature of not doing
Which holiday deal?
it? They're coming up the holiday, not even set up and not even doing it.
Boo.
Okay, so my point is then volunteer, because nothing is frustrating enough than trying to get volunteers. And we can't do it, but yet everybody wants to do the thing. So if we're gonna say, no, I want it, I think we should do it, then you need to be there to help, to be honest with you. It's the same group. This is a dead horse. If I had my other stick, I'd hit it. We say this all the time. It's the same people doing everything. And when we're out in public, it needs to be new faces. It will drag us down if we're the ones always doing it, right? And like when Rochelle said, does anybody have any ideas? It's because she and I are talking about this. We're like, we feel guilty in a way that we're the two setting up this stuff and not getting input. But it's like, nobody has any ideas. Come up with ideas for us to do. This is a whole club thing. This isn't just 2-5 people. Everybody have an idea, tell us your idea. Because if all we're gonna do is a street cleanup, guess what? We're probably not gonna have everybody out there doing street. All right, so.
Real quick, something on the planning calculus on that day on Winterfest Day is if the football team wins tomorrow night, there's gonna be a parade before Winterfest. What that parade looks like is unknown right now, whether that includes the volleyball team or not, because some of them can't make it. So whether or not they go around the lake on their own, or if they just go from Lundy Park up to the high school to celebrate, and then go to Winterfest. So there's just there's some other things going on that day just to put into your.
Send them around the lake, please. That is the coolest.
Yeah, no, I'm a send around like person, but when they do that, then they're on their own as far as. We don't provide the full escort for them, because then we have to block every single spot.
But if they go from London to the high school, then they miss downtown.
Exactly.
They just
I'm
drove.
totally with you. That's why I'm.
Are you?
Oh,
Totally with
come
you.
down. It's so fun, sit on the deck, screen down out
Yeah.
here, down way.
Yeah.
It is awesome.
And also to your point, Brian, when I show up and volunteer and help and engage with kids and adults and senior citizens, it's so fun. It feels, you said the word draining. And I know your point, but I love it. It makes me so happy.
Yeah, oh, I love it too,
Fun
whenever
hanging
you
out
do
with
it,
everyone.
but if we're not doing it, it's draining on the 5 people that are trying to set up a farmer's market. That's why we got rid of that. Good Lord, imagine what that looks like for the couple people that have to every Wednesday go to the storage unit, get the stuff, set it up. Then they have to take it down because, but you're right. Anytime we do a function, even the ones that are quote unquote draining, they're exciting in the moment. But then you gotta do it all over again by yourself. So, and I get it. Some people don't have the luxury of making their own schedule. That's fine. But honestly, most of us probably really can fit that time in. We're in a club this is supposed to take up some of your time. So,
So Brian, when we did that tent, we did it for the farmers market because wanted to.
Right.
To represent, right?
absolutely.
When we did the hot cocoa at the Festival of Trees, there was no branding at all. The Lake Stevens Rotary was even there except for maybe one apron. So it'd be good for us to buy a tablecloth to put on the table that says Lake Stevens Rotary on it, so that when we're there,
Yeah.
people know who it is that's volunteering.
No, I agree. I think a tablecloth, the almost the skirt, not the skirt, kind of tight one, you know what I mean? Makes a lot of sense for us. I agree. We need something on it. But even if it's a small, even something like this, frankly, no, I agree. So, I mean, if we can look up the cost of that and get it, because I totally agree with you. We need something other than, if we're indoors, it can't be, obviously. So you're right, we need something. So, but you're absolutely right. And we can use it outdoor too. So, all right, Don, you want to talk about some stuff?
Yeah, actually, just kind of following on with what we were talking about, just a reminder that we're coming into the new year, which is scholarship year. Or scholarship time, and a couple of good points to make is number one. When we did our sophisticated research at the farmer's market with the fish bowls, we found that without a doubt, the 2 most popular things that we're involved in were food bank and scholarships. And so this is a good opportunity for us to make a big splash, it always is in our community. And then the other is, it was our funding at our Corks and Caves this year. So, and we did very well because of that. So we're have a lot of applicants. So I'm asking anybody that wants to be involved in reviewing the applications to let me know. And all right, okay, we have 2. All right, this is Oklahoma. I can't remember 4.
Just everybody email Don. I mean,
Call me, talk to you today, and I'll actually, that's fine. Get it. And we will get you on the list, and we'll push you on.
Thank you for the new tool. It is so good. Kyle.
Yeah.
If you want to participate in this one, it is so good.
What?
Okay, so this is so reading those applications, it's renews your faith in them. They're so good. The kids in this community are amazing. And you get to judge them. It's really great.
I missed that. That was my favorite part.
Oh, sure. Happy bucks. All right, so we've got 6 minutes for our speaker. So 6 minutes of happiness and drama.
Happy Bucks time, huh?
We know.
Oh, not drunk, sorry. I didn't get happy. I think like a bank of car, yes,
Yeah, you stepped out. We have no clue when you're gonna be back. Olga didn't tell me he'll be back in 1 minute.
Yes, yeah, sorry, I had 42 yards of material getting ready to get delivered in. They didn't know where to put it. Despite marking it on the map for them on their app. I get it wrong. Yeah. I'll just thrust the bucket towards you.
7:04.
Interesting. Really? Now, see, now, I could have been like, it was a clue, but now I'm starting to wonder.
Well, we're gonna have to check the,
And we don't even know how much it is. It's $2.
oh, yes, I didn't give you your $5 either, because I don't know where that is. What do we figure away? It'll feel like winning again next week when you tell us how much you want.
I will be here next week.
So we're starting over here. I've got a happy five. Number one, that it's Friday and this godforsaken week is over. A difficult week, I'm gonna say. But the good news is that my daughter is pregnant. But not with the good news. Yeah, and that makes me feel pretty happy. Yeah, even after the doctor.
You gotta have this to get through it.
I don't know what I'm doing.
Oh, tell us what you're happy about. Or sad.
Oh, well, I actually have 2 granddaughters already. It's a dramatic number, I think, so. So, yeah.
Love it when people get surprised by the happy bucks.
His daughter is 11 and she is, up on the shelf. Some parents think it's such a in the back, and I have agreed for the past, 10 years. But I swear she knows. And she, though, is beyond excited for it and wants it. And I'm thinking, okay, I can reimagine this. And this is just my love language to her every day to do this silly thing. And it's so good. And again, I think she knows. And she's like bringing the spirit of love and joy and believing to me and our 13-year-old, my husband. So I just think it's amazing. I think it's fun.
You can just go out and imagine, you could out dance, you got video.
That's cool. I do just move it to shop. But everybody.
I'm happy for a couple things tomorrow. I talked to the Association of West Cities as a newly elected officials kind of training, so I'll be talking at that tomorrow and then follow that up with football game tomorrow night.
That's great. Of December, have a holiday stuff, people. About that, you guys. Right? Hey, happy New Year, happy Friday.
Had a great time in Tucson. It was 75 degrees every day. I came home and it was pouring rain and I wanted to get back on the plane and turn around.
Today's Friday. I spent Thanksgiving up in Linden, and it was beautiful up there. I enjoyed it.
Happy to be a part of this club.
I had a knee surgery last week and I can still walk, so that's good.
Happiest Friday, looking forward to our party tomorrow. I may have bought goggles and some ponchos, so be ready.
Gallagher's coming out of town. Let's go.
Be ready.
I've been wanting to do this for a while, so.
Career wise, strong quarter 4, holiday season, love it, and also happy that Eileen paid debts.
I'm just happy it's Friday.
Well, I'm happy. We just got back from the Sea Quartet over something in Tucson.
Yeah.
It was but this was a very unusual year. Where we're at is a marine park where no fishing is allowed for miles and miles and miles. The fish were incredible. Just
Absolutely.
And I've never seen schools of fish so thick, or you can't see the sandy bottom, 10 feet under the water. And then the little tropical guys, the sergeant majors, all the colorful things were all over the place. But it was really a very magical trip this year. They're by far the most. So I don't know what's going on, but it was good.
That's
Towns up by yourself. Love it. Near the box, but really not that bad.
All right, I'm happy to see you all here and look forward to seeing you tomorrow.
Happy to be here, sad to miss part.
I'm happy it's Friday. And very nice.
Also, Mr. President.
So I am super happy, happy and sad. Zachary exited the Navy on the 1st, so that's the sad part, but it's also a happy part because now he's here. He got hired on permanently with the company that my other son works with, to repair boilers. So it's gonna work in Salt too. So it's pretty incredible to be able to have him home, and I don't have to go to Virginia Beach every Thanksgiving for his birthday and Thanksgiving. So super stoked.
And they got jobs.
Yeah, that's exactly it. Well, so it's funny though, because he's mad. He worked with this company for 6 months. He was still a sailor, so the Navy paid him. And he was working like literally 18-hour days, getting up at 3 o'clock, going down to Tacoma, working down there. And now, this week, he hasn't worked past 2 o'clock and he hasn't left the house until like 7. So he's like, this is BS. I work for free. And so in a way, he's frustrated, but I'm like, it's slow right now, dude. Calm down. So, yeah.
$100,000 in just the last couple of weeks, about a year and a half ago, started talking to my wife about what we wanted to do for our 50th wedding anniversary. And she didn't hesitate. She said, I want to take the whole family to Hawaii. So all 13 of us went to Hawaii and just had a very magical, memorable trip for our 50th wedding anniversary.
50. That's awesome.
She said she can't believe she put up with me that long. I said, I got you.
The trip she was like, what?
She was working before that.
Good answer.
Yes, dear.
I'm happy I went to my first hockey game. This is why I got the gear now. I knew like also enthusiastic fan. We lost 4-0, but it was totally worth it. And now I can be a cheerleader at every game if anybody needs a buddy. And also happy to attend the party tomorrow. So and hope to see you all there. Unfortunately, we won't be there, but next year for sure.
She's gonna get her application done today, so she attends in September.
There may be something so fun for everyone payday together.
He's got jokes. So I am super happy. It's just been a great morning. Great to serve as your sergeant of arms, warms my heart. But it's the season of Advent. So if you don't have a church you want to go to, but you want to go to a church all the way through Advent, it's a great time. Cool messages going on, all pointing the reason for the season. And if you normally go to church, but you feel lazy one Sunday, you go to Anchor Point Church. And even if you don't like church, what's funny is you can still go to church. Okay.
All right, Benjamin, you're gonna be up, buddy.
Awesome. Sounds good.
You got a presentation where we need to share the screen?
Oh, wait, I
Yeah.
do have an intro. If,
Good.
if I may. And so for those who don't know, this is actually my brother, my much older brother.
Oh my God.
And yes, I have some people here who want to say hi, but I'm on the road right now in the car, but I do have a little intro to say. 1 second. Okay, so after spending over 20 years as a photographer, designer, and creative director for social impact companies and organizations, Ben is now in his final semester of the Bachelor's of Social Work program at Cal State LA. He also currently serves as president of the Association of Student Social Workers, where he helps strengthen connection and community across the student body. In fall 2025, his goal is to begin a one-year advanced standing master's of social work program at Cal State Northridge. After completing his MSW in 2027, Ben plans to build a career that spans micro, meso, and macro practice, supporting individuals, empowering communities, and shaping human-centered, equity-driven policy. So, welcome, Ben. I'm excited to hear.
Thank you. A lot of big words there, Kendra. For such a young lady. Thank you all so much for having me. First of all, I wanted to start off by thanking all of you for your support from the fire this last year. It was an indescribable experience. To stand in the paradox of grief and also gratitude to have complete strangers showing up for me and my family, donating and supporting us was really indescribable. And I really want to thank you all for sending what you did. And we're doing okay. We're getting through. It's a long recovery, as some of you may know or experienced yourselves. When you lose everything in your community and everything, it takes a while to kind of trust life again a little bit. We're moving forward. My kids are doing great, but I just wanted to thank you all very much for your support. I do have a presentation. Am I able to share the screen?
Yeah, Don, can you share the screen? There you go. Look, it popped up for me. All right. Yes, you can do anything you want with this thing.
Awesome. All right. So I'll go into this here. Just a minute.
Absolutely. Anything else I need to do for anybody? No?
Okay. So as Kendra mentioned, I've been a photographer, designer, working in social impact for the last 25 years. What that looks like is spending time in a lot of different places, a lot of different countries, helping to document and tell stories of individuals who are really challenged by their environments, by their governments, by their communities, or their communities are facing challenges. And so it was interesting spending so much of my life doing that, because what it really provided me was with a really specific perspective of standing behind a camera, but studying, humans for 20 years as they go through adversity. And it's been really fascinating how that's informed my experience stepping towards social work, because a lot of times, when I was out in the field shooting, I'd really be frustrated because, documenting adversity versus engaging with it and trying to help are very, different roles and different positions. So that was really kind of a big driver to sending me back to school and, going down this different path now. And interestingly enough, one of those things has been, learning about this crisis that's happening with nurses specifically, but also across the board with healthcare workers. We all know COVID, had a massive impact on everyone, but, healthcare workers were obviously at the center of that storm. And that did not help a problem that existed long before COVID. So, here's a little bit about me again. Yep, I go to Cal State LA. I'm wrapping up my bachelor's. I'm finishing this spring. I'm jumping into a master's. It's an advanced standing program. And I'll wrap that up next spring, the 27. I'm also on the Mayor of LA's crisis response team. And what that is a local volunteer program where we are part of different bureaus around LA County, and where you work with the police, the firemen, fire station, and like the coroner's office. And we are called when there is an unexpected death. And we are the liaison between the surviving family members and the officials, the police, the medical examiner, the fire the fire chief, depending on who's on site and what the emergency is. My research focus as a social worker has been around workforce retention, organizational and cultural development, and then power and leadership design and gender equity. This is me and my wife and our kids right in front of a mural in Altadena that we loved when we lived there. It's JJ, Harlow, and Wilder. So, but we'll jump on in here. So identifying the problem. How many of you have waited in hours in an ER or urgent care when you're in pain, right? There's or had a loved one who's, struggled to get like mental health appointments for weeks or months. Oftentimes you will see a nurse who is exhausted and just at the end of her rope, or their rope, I should say. The problem is really obvious in the patient experience. We see it playing out in a lot of different ways, and it's a really complicated thing because obviously we are, individuals who need care, and, humans are very egocentric people. And so when we are in a space of need, we tend to just focus on our own pain. And, that makes sense, but there's these individuals who are caring for us, and they have cared for us forever, and they've kind of been told to keep a stiff upper lip, get to work. But the reality is that these individuals are really at the center of the storm, and they're facing not just our individual traumas, but community traumas every day in and day out. And they are not provided with adequate care or even options for care. Oh, sorry. There was one thing I wanted to tell you guys really quickly. Something that is not understood about social work is that social work is a tri-level practice. There is, like Kendra mentioned, there's the meso, the micro, and the macro. Micro is working with individuals, meso is working with communities, and macro would be working at a policy level. And social workers are uniquely trained to do all of that across the board. And that is the ideal practice, is to be working with individuals in a community, working within the same individuals community, working with them. So working with individuals, working with their community, and then advocating for policy change and policy design for that exact same community. This is one community that I've started working with that I found it to be really inspiring. So nurses, the numbers are pretty dismal. 60 to 90% of nurses experience verbal or physical violence at work during their careers. 56 to 75% of nurses report burnout. 65% are wanting to leave the profession altogether. These are just nationwide numbers. The burnout correlates directly to medical errors and low patient safety, turnover, and patient dissatisfaction. So there's fewer than 40% of the healthcare clinicians that are seeking help because of stigma and fear of employer retaliation and time barriers. They just really don't have time at all. And then, there's this fear from a lot of nurses, and I've spoken to a lot of nurses. Originally, my research was specifically around nurses, so a lot of my conversation will be about the nursing profession, but it does apply to healthcare workers kind of on a broader conversation as well. But a lot of the nurses that I spoke to, across the nation, they all brought up stigma and fear of employer retaliation, because a lot of times in their state licensing, it is outlined that they are not allowed to have mental health care. They're not allowed to engage or talk about needing mental health care, and they could potentially lose their license because of it. So it's a really complicated and layered issue. So who's being effective? We have 30% of all healthcare workers are nurses, making them the largest component of the U.S. healthcare workforce. Rural providers are especially impacted. They already aren't supported, from governments as much because they have lower populations. So a lot of the rural hospitals and a lot of rural environments are suffering not just from uh this type of not just from the mental health crisis, but they're also suffering because obviously economics are changing. They don't have access to care. Some people, my in-laws are from the Midwest, and they have to travel 2.5 hours to a major city to get actual healthcare. Otherwise, they're really struggling. And there's been a number, sadly, of people in my in-laws family who have had bad diagnosis, wrong diagnosis, late diagnosis, and so that's caused some deaths, unfortunately, and long-term health implications. So yeah, the rural environment is seeing this, but just in a very different way than what the urban environment is. So there's 9 female nurses for every 1 male nurse, and that's a statistic that's across the United States. What that really shows is that this mental health crisis is dramatically impacting women more than men, and that's just kind of a interesting little side bit of knowledge to sit with. So yeah, 40% of nurses are intending to leave within 5 years. Burnout from nurses creates reduced safety, lower morale, a much higher turnover. There's much fewer services, fewer workers, and the direct impact on the community is huge. It's huge. The financial loss, we'll get into this in a little bit, but it's $40,000 to $65,000 to replace 1 nurse. And when you start adding that up to a third of the healthcare workforce, we start getting into some really significant numbers. So here's kind of the United States overview. There's 75% of nurses are reporting burnout, 60 to 90% experience workplace violence, 40% of nurses plan to leave the profession, like I said. Only 15% really seek mental health care and support. Burnout really increases medical errors and decreases patient safety. So in a lot of the conversations I've had with nurses across the US, it's been really shocking the amount of numbers of people that they know, people they've worked with for a number of years who have gotten sudden illnesses, sudden cancer diagnosis, autoimmune problems. And all of this is directly connected to, elevated cortisol levels from stress. Nursing is obviously, they're caring, but they're also, like I said earlier, in the foreground and forefront of every traumatic event in everybody's lives, whether it's losing a loved one, or you yourself being in the hospital and needing care. They see, the worst. They see the worst of us. They're there for our worst moments, and they aren't allowed to talk about it. They aren't allowed to process it. And so those things, I'm learning more and more every day, those experiences, without talking about them and connecting with other people, those things stay in our bodies and they fester and they create autoimmune diseases and cancers and all kinds of crazy stuff over time. There's one nurse who they can't find out, that I spoke to. They can't figure out what's going on with her. They've diagnosed her with MS to start, and then they said, no, it's not MS. And, they went back and forth kind of in this space of putting different diagnoses on her. She's in the middle of different trials because they still don't have a diagnosis for her, but she does have lesions on her brain. And I've told her 3 or 4 times, I really think it's your job. I think you need to leave your job. I think that's, or go to a different place. So here's kind of the Washington State overview. I kind of dug around and did some numbers, pulling some numbers, so we could kind of look at this. Washington State turnover rate is 20 to 26,000 nurses a year. That projected cost is anywhere from 800 million to 1.3 billion. So 79% of Washington healthcare workers are burnt out, which is just a huge number. That's such a huge number. And how that translates into patient care is dangerous. It's really dangerous. Behavioral health providers, that's one of the major shortages. Mental health care, burnout and turnover, sharply higher in those rural areas like we were talking about. so there's some key Washington specific findings. Employee assistance programs and public crisis lines are severely underutilized, and due to mistrust and confidentiality fears. Again, kind of going back to that, they're worried about their licensing and being able to keep their job. Washington is in current discussions about a plan to establish a specific healthcare worker dedicated hotline. But there's challenges around that, and I've been consulting with different individuals to provide them with some of this information that I have and some recommendations, because a lot of the nurses that I've spoken with, they do not want to talk to a doctor. They don't want to talk to a therapist. And they definitely don't want to do that when they're off the clock and they are not at work. And so the last thing they want to do is think and talk about work when they're not there. So the idea of this, dedicated phone line, while it's nice that there's some kind of action, towards this, we have a $750,000 Band-Aid on a $1.3 billion problem. So, it's something to kind of think about and consider. So Snohomish County, we did a little spotlight on Snohomish County here. So there's roughly 41,000 workers in healthcare and social assistance. Snohomish County is spending roughly $157 million on nurse turnover every year. And again, that's just nurse turnover. That's not including doctors or nurses' aides or, any of the other additional healthcare workers we have. A 23% loss equals about 3,000 healthcare staff. So, that's kind of the turnover that you're looking at every year, in Snohomish County specifically. So, local hospitals are definitely reporting consistently higher turnovers, especially in nursing and behavioral health. The county's 2022 community health assessment lists mental health provider shortages as a top health priority. As we all have seen over time, data and research has come together to, explore mental health, and really, the idea that mental health is created as a separate, space of health is, for those of us working in the field, it's fascinating because, our brains and our bodies are connected, if you didn't know. So, we need to be able to have a much stronger holistic view on mental health, and especially in these kind of high stress environments where people are experiencing other people's trauma every day. So, there's the suicide rates in nurses is just skyrocketed in the last 5 years since COVID. So there's really a dramatic need for some change. So again, kind of going over some things, what's happening. We have understaffing with high patient ratios. The workplace violence is shocking. I spoke to one nurse she was a nurse administrator, and she was telling me stories that just blew my mind. And the one that got me just really sick was there was a pregnant woman who was about 7 months pregnant, just about ready to go on maternity leave. And an individual walked into their emergency room and punched her as hard as he could in her stomach. And, that was just another day for them in their ER. Nurses are getting accosted every day, yelled at by patients, yelled at by the people who are bringing patients to the hospital. These are, again, the people who are caring for us at our weakest moments. And so I find that to be, unacceptable. Like we really need to figure out ways and boundaries and different answers to help make this better. But there's the stigma around seeking help, leadership breakdowns, and lack of psychological safety. People aren't feeling safe if they are stressed, if they are sad. One nurse that I spoke to, she was on shift, and there was a cardiac arrest that came in, and it turned out to be one of the nurses that they'd all worked with for the last 15 years. And so the whole team ran into the room to try and save this man, and he died in front of all of his coworkers. And then they were all expected to turn around and go back to work immediately. And I don't know about you, but I'm not built like that. I would not be able to disassociate in that way. I understand, like, nurses are trained in, some of this, but that's a pretty serious event for anybody to go through. And to not have any kind of support to talk about that would definitely have an impact on patient care. Um, there's insufficient paid self-care time. So the idea that, like I said earlier, that they are expected to have, deal with their stress outside of work, it really doesn't work. That really doesn't work because they have busy families, just like the rest of us, busy lives. They're doing all kinds of different things that they have responsibilities to take care of. And so, they really need more structure and more tools utilized in the workplace to help make this, turn around. One of the big contributors that's happening as well is travel nursing. Travel nursing, a lot of nurses, especially younger nurses, are running to this profession because they're paid dramatically more than individuals who take a salaried position and stay at a hospital for a long time. And the longer implications of that are that you know they're not building leadership, and they're not building leadership in individuals. So the nurse administrators are seeing a decline in people that they can promote and that they can train. They're also finding that there's no teamwork development because people come for 3 months and then they're gone. And then there's a lot of resentment that goes on between nurses because you have these travel nurses again coming in making all this money while there's individuals who are salaried individuals who are committed to staying and building community and building the team. So there's a lot of combating things happening there. But it's unfortunate because again there's a nurse shortage, and so they need to address that somehow. But the travel nurse thing is not turning out to be an adequate response. And then again, like the leadership issue, that's a really big problem because if there's such a shortage of nurses that are becoming travel nurses, you're not going to have the people that can step up to those leadership roles as time goes on. So let's talk about some solutions. This is all some evidence-based solutions that I've pulled from different research studies. The most important one is that this be a peer support network answer. It needs to be framed as, healthcare workers helping healthcare workers, nurses helping nurses. Nurses don't, again, we said earlier, there is a very severe lack of trust within their own employer systems. And so they really don't want to talk to someone who works for their hospital or their doctor's office. They definitely don't want to talk to a therapist. And they definitely absolutely do not want to talk to a doctor. So the biggest success that they're going to have is finding nurses that are looking to transition into perhaps a different model of nursing where they are becoming a peer support, and they are running programs where they're, kind of addressing some of these issues. The second thing is having a digital asynchronous support platform that's like a digital, app on their phone that they can access. Leadership training and culture reform to create those psychologically safe environments. It really is imperative that leadership understands this and starts getting the appropriate training to make sure that they can lead their staff to be safe and effective and really, again, this all leads back to patient care. So they need to have mandated built-in paid self-care time integrated into their workday. Like I said earlier, expecting individuals, I don't know about you all, but when I get off of work, when I'm done with work, the last thing I want to do would be to go and do something for work at home. So when you're off, you're off. And, some jobs might not need this level of attention when it comes to, self-care and mental health, addressing mental health challenges and issues, but that's definitely not the case in healthcare and nursing. That again, the level of stress they're working day in and day out is really impacting their overall physical health. And these just need to be, some implemented tactics. So independent state-funded agency that's confidential, that is not tied to licensing boards or employers. That's another really big one. Again, because a lot of these, individuals, they don't trust anything that's attached to their employer or that is connected to like state licensing boards. And then legislative matters. There's the Lorna Breen Act, which has mandatory anti-violence protocols, and it modernizes staffing standards. So that's on the docket, I believe, in Washington State right now. I'm working with the legislative chair to kind of push some of the needs there. But yeah, there's a lot of like things that can be done here. Some of them are really big, meaningful shifts. Some of them are small. There are programs that are out there that are being successful. So I can go over that in just a moment here, but society's role, society is not a bystander. It's a participant in this. As we all know, we can't just show up and take. I believe Rotary is a huge example of that. Helping communities, helping individuals. We all know that it takes a village for anyone to be successful. So, we need to show up in this way as well. We need to stop relying, first of all, on hero language. When we label someone as a hero, as valuable as they are to society, it really leaves very little room for their humanity. And that creates a big issue when we're talking about something like this. They are all just humans and put on their pants the same way we do. So, this is something that, while they are heroes to us, it can be a little dehumanizing, which is odd. But as long as we can step back and recognize that, heroes have challenges as well. I think we've seen that in a few DC movies. But again, as you've probably heard, challenging stigmas around mental health and help seeking and healthcare specifically is really, really critical. We need to expect and demand safe staffing and safe environments for hospitals and medical environments. This again all translates back to appropriate patient care. We need to support legislation that invests workforce well-being and recognize nurses and providers as essential infrastructure, not just replaceable labor. And then we need to treat caregiver safety as a community responsibility. So the call to action, Rotary is in a really great position to help. Advocating, contacting state legislators about staffing ratios and workforce support bills, supporting awareness and hosting community forums on mental health and healthcare workforce well-being. Providing local partnerships, providing scholarships. I know Rotary has a scholarship program, but for LPN or RN students that are in Snohomish County, specifically those who want to study mental health or be a part of that mental health movement. You can sponsor resilience programs or peer support training, connect with facilitate partnerships between hospitals, behavioral health agencies, and community organizations. And then, to create a Rotary-backed healthcare workforce task force for Lake Stevens. All of these are just, some basic ideas that you can kind of throw out there and, start churning and thinking about planting those seeds in the community because, I know when I grew up in Lake Stevens, I don't know how many of you are longtime Lake Stevens residents, but Lake Stevens has exploded in the last 25 years. It's just become this, massive place. So, compared to what it was, back in the 90s. So, I think that, that boom of population really comes back to answering and discussing some of these details around, how does that boom in population impact healthcare workers? Is there enough healthcare workers to support this boom in population that Lake Stevens is experiencing? I know there's no hospitals in Lake Stevens, they're still in Everett, but there are the urgent cares and, looking at the numbers in Everett would definitely be something to consider. So final message, our healthcare workers are not burning out because they're weak. They're burning out because the system is, and this is solvable. We just have to act together. So, it's not, this isn't a person problem. This is a systems problem. And so that's why it's solvable, is we can create different things within systems to make it better and function better, which ultimately, again, just, creates better patient care. So, does anybody have any questions?
Well, I've got a statement that maybe supports a little bit of what you were saying. And it comes back to the self-care time and the response, the replaceable labor points you made. I always worry about technology in a field like that and many other fields. All the time, technology is meant to eliminate the mundane labor aspects of a position. And I think about the medical profession. That just means that their employer is expecting them to deal with only the hard stuff. And it gives no time or less time to do more routine stuff where you can kind of get your mental breath back. And is that a factor, do you think?
I definitely think it is. There's especially when it comes to AI right now, the conversation around AI is so fascinating to me, especially, I mean, across the field, across, different gamuts and different industries, but specifically in healthcare, AI, there's definitely a lot of really amazing things I think AI can help with, and technology in general. Tech generate, like you were saying, it, makes our lives easier, right? But, how many times do you want to throw your phone out the car window, Yeah, I think that, if we don't kind of pull the plug on this idea that AI is going to take over and start treating it and outlining it and treating it more as like a tool, it's a tool that can be used. It's a tool to make us smarter. It's a tool to make us better. It isn't a tool to replace us. And we need to keep those limitations and keep that understanding at kind of the forefront focus. But that's really hard. That's really hard when you talk about society in general. A lot of people can be very complacent in their lives, and it makes perfect sense. There's no judgment with that. But when it comes to bringing something like technology in, with people who are complacent and not explorative with it, that's when you're going to start seeing that it is definitely going to impact patient care, mental health amongst the healthcare workers. It also, dulls skills, right? So there's, what something I've been telling a lot of students, because, being an older student at Cal State LA, I've had a number of students that have said it's like having two professors in the room. But, the thing I keep telling the students is that it's really something that you need to imagine, like, what happens if ChatGPT all of a sudden goes away and doesn't work? Are you going to be able to do a biopsychosocial assessment? Are you going to be able to create the notes that you need to make to, provide adequate care for individuals? There's all the answers, to those questions is really the problem with technology and AI. And, creating those spaces where people can explore the tool to make them better clinicians and better individuals in their jobs is really, really critical. But again, it needs to be framed and outlined in that way with leadership, with policy, within institutions. So I think that yes, I think that technology can be good, but it is, as we've seen in a lot of different sectors, it is also dramatically impacting mental health. And so technology, especially in healthcare, when it comes to addressing this, it's not, I don't think that it's going to make it better,
Anybody have anything else?
I've heard in life that we be nice to everybody, but the two people you really want to be nice to is your waiter and your nurse.
Wow. Wait.
Yeah.
Thanks, Amy.
Ben, thank you so much for the presentation, buddy.
Thank you.
Yeah, for sure.
All
I can send this to you all too if you want to look at it and pull some of those numbers just to
Please,
share
if you
with
can-
whoever you want.
That'd be great if you could send it to Kendra and then she could forward it on to us.
Yep,
Awesome.
yep, that sounds good.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
No problem. Thank you all. Take care. Have a good weekend.
Bye. Eileen, inspiration?
Yep. Pulling it up now. Right, you ready?
Yeah.
Work hard in silence, let your success be your noise.
Yeah.
Let success be your noise.
All right. Go out and be noisy.
Why-